All right. Hello, everybody. Um, oh, I'm a little dark here. Turn that light. Okay, so it's late Sunday night, and I'm making this ready for you for Monday for your week back from spring break. Okay, next thing we'll talk about is the immune system. Again, I always talk fast on these videos of notes, so please use the pause button to make sure you get everything. Okay, so the immune system is complicated, and that's actually not the most complicated flowchart there is when it comes to the immune system. You are not going to be learning that today. I just want to kind of give you kind of a view of how many different things are going on with the immune system. Okay, if we start with basic function, what the immune system is there to do is to prevent illness or limit how ill you get and respond to any infections or invasions that happen in your body. Okay, and we are protecting ourselves from pathogens. Okay, so pathogen is a fancy word for the following things, and there are a couple more, but these are the most common ones. Bacteria, virus, obviously that's in the news at the moment, parasites, and fungus. The other things that can be considered pathogens are rickettsias and what's the other one? Protists or protozoa. The immune system also responds to repair any damaged cells. So when you get a cut, it's the immune system that's part of that response. Okay, so let's start by looking at what organs are involved in immunity. I should also mention I'm actually sat on an exercise ball, so if you see me bouncing up and down, that's why. Okay, so organs involved in immunity. Firstly, it's the skin. Skin is the largest organ in your body, and it is considered an organ. It is a barrier to pathogens, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. You think sweat and oil can come out, but it stops microscopic bacteria, viruses from going in. So your skin is a barrier. That's why if somebody sneezes on you, it doesn't mean you're going to get sick. It's when they sneeze on you or you touch, um, you know, the sneeze, and then touch your eyes because it can enter through the mucous membranes or holes in our skin, like the eyes, the mouth, the nose, and around the reproductive organs as well. Okay, same reason why somebody with HIV, they can bleed on you. You can have the blood directly touching your skin, and there is no risk to you unless you have damaged or an open cut on your arm. Okay, so some other organs that are involved in immunity. I'm somehow going to have fun saying immunity today. Is bone marrow, which where we should know that's where our red blood cells are made, but also a lot of white blood cells are made in the bone marrow as well. Okay, the bloodstream, because your white blood cells need to be constantly being circulated around your body to respond to any invasion anywhere, and your bloodstream is what takes those white blood cells to any possible place of infection. We also have something called the lymphatic system. This is a network of vessels that can transport white blood cells around the body. So we have lymph nodes. You have some under here. You have them in various different places around the body. The nodes are hubs within the system that collect and store specialized white blood cells. And then we have our spleen, which has a job within the immune system, which is modification of certain immune cells. I don't want to go too far into that today. Okay, this is a video. We're not going to watch it right now because that doesn't make any sense, but I will link it so that you can watch it at your leisure. I'm going to talk about the inflammatory response. Okay, so this is how the immune system would protect you in the specific situation where you have broken skin and a pathogen, such as a bacteria or a virus, entering in. Okay, so this diagram is quite complicated, and there are 7 steps going along. We're going to break it down into each of these and look at specific areas of the diagram. Okay, so if we look at step 1, At step one, we have the bacteria or the pathogen entering the body at the site of the injury. So if you have a cut or a tear in the skin, that is a place where bacteria can enter. Okay, they can't enter any other place in the skin. It has to be damaged. Step two, as soon as this happens, your first bodily response is to try and repair that wound and seal up the skin again so that it's whole and complete and more bacteria or more pathogens can't enter in. Okay, so the things that we see responding are blood platelets. That causes clotting proteins, and they start to close the wound up really, really quickly. Okay, so the third I'm sorry, it's late at night. The third thing that happens is you have these specialized cells called mast cells. Basically, they cause your blood vessels to get bigger, dilate, so that we're getting more blood supply coming into the area or the site of the wound, the site of the infection. So that mast cell is activating. It's kind of like calling 911, right? So it's telling the bloodstream to flow more and bring more help. Okay, next up we have neutrophil, which is a white blood cell. Okay, so this starts to secrete factors that kill or degrade the invaders. Okay, so it sends out these weapons to start breaking the invader down, the pathogen down. And then the neutrophil, along with another specialized white blood cell, after they have been kind of slowed down and degraded, will start to destroy and consume them. So we'll see that in the next slide, I think. There we go. Okay, so that next thing is the neutrophil, which is the blue. You can see how it's starting to surround, as well as the macrophage, okay, or the phagocyte. Okay, basically what they are doing is they are surrounding the pathogen and bringing it in where enzymes start to destroy and pull the pathogen apart so they can't cause any more damage. So you come into contact with pathogens fairly consistently. And a lot of this is happening on a daily basis, and your white blood cells are able to handle a lot of it. It's only when they get overwhelmed with the infection that they are unable to deal with it, and we see the spread of the disease, and you start to become symptomatic. Well, symptomatic would be like the fever, the weakness that occurs from having that pathogen inside you. Okay, so next up, after some of the pathogens are destroyed, that macrophage also secretes something called cytokines. Basically, this starts to cause cellular repair so that any cells that have been damaged by the invader, by the pathogen, are repaired quickly. Okay, so that's the inflammatory response. That's what's going on. And it happens pretty quickly. Your body's pretty efficient. It doesn't always completely prevent disease or infection, but it will definitely slow it down. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is your immune system memory. Your immune system does have a memory. What that means is that when you get sick from a specific disease or pathogen, your white blood cells, specifically the T cells and B cells, which are also known as memory cells, basically they form a blueprint of how to fight that specific disease, which is why a lot of diseases you can only get once. Now, that doesn't mean that if you get, what's a good example, like the chicken pox. So if you get chicken pox as a child, you have developed an immunity against it. Doesn't mean that chicken pox can't invade your body and still be present in your cells, but your white blood cells know how to deal with it because they have this memory. Okay, and those memory cells, they continue to circulate inside your bloodstream and your lymphatic system. And basically, if that invader, that specific pathogen comes back, that memory cell recognize it and they know, I put the other no, that's terrible spelling, know exactly how to deal with it. And you get a really quick response. So the symptoms of the sickness never develop and you never feel bad because it gets dealt with really, really quickly. Okay. All right, so there's a couple of types of immunity, and that's one, which is the natural active immunity. So that's basically as you get exposed to a specific disease or pathogen, your white blood cells form a memory of how to deal with it, and then you are considered immune from that specific pathogen. Now, we also have artificially acquired active immunity. Um, this is when you are artificially given a disease so your body can respond to it and produce a blueprint or a plan to deal with it. So when you have a vaccine, that's what's happening. So an example would be the MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, and rubella. What they do is they inject a small amount of a dead uh, pathogen into your system. Your body recognizes it, or your body sees it, fights against it, and forms a plan. So if it ever comes into contact with it again, you have it. But now you haven't actually had the disease because they don't give you the full disease. They give you this altered, dead version of it. Now, dead isn't the most accurate word, but for what we're looking at today, that's what we're going to use. Okay. We can also have passive immunity. This is where you receive antibodies to fight the disease from somewhere else. Okay, so the first place that we have this naturally is when you were born, your immune system is really, really weak. And you're not capable of fighting much off. That's why you have to be really careful around newborn babies. You want to keep them healthy. So you receive a passive immunity because the mother during um, pregnancy and just before childbirth, they give a lot of these antibodies to the child from the mother's supply, and they can continue to give that to the child through breastfeeding. Another reason why breastfeeding is really good for kids. You can also have an artificial scenario with this where you are injected with antibodies that are produced by another human or even animal, which is a little gross to think about, but that works too. So that would be an artificial passive immunity. Okay, so we're going to look at how do we take care of our immune system. And honestly, these are probably things that you have heard in the news recently about how you take care of yourself to better set yourself up to deal with exposure to COVID-19. So you need to have a balanced diet, not in terms of fats, proteins, and carbs, but balanced in terms of vitamins and minerals. Okay, so that you are best supporting your immune system. Okay, so the best place to get that is fresh produce. So you want to have a variety of different colors and different types of produce to support your immune system. You want to limit the amount of processed food, so you're limiting sugars and fats coming into your diet. Sleep is important because when you are tired, your immune system is less effective. Also, during sleep is where a lot of the cellular rehabilitation occurs. So you want your body to be working at optimum. So sleep is important. Remember, I think we talked about this very beginning at the start of the year. It isn't a one size fits all. Not everybody needs 8 hours, but you need to be able to wake up without pressing the snooze button and get up. So that's how much sleep you need. If you're still snoozing, hitting that button multiple times, it means you need to go to bed earlier and get more sleep. Physical activity each day, roughly 30 minutes to an hour, is important because it's really good at decreasing stress. And if you are stressed, you are in the stress response, again, that we talked about in the first semester. And that's diverting all of your energy into your brain and muscles and not supporting your immune system. So you're taking away resources from your immune system when you are stressed. Get your immunizations. This is kind of a topic for discussion that I can't really have, over YouTube. But there's, you probably have heard of movements of being anti-vaccine, which I would typically have this discussion with you. The recommendation is to get your immunizations. Okay, there is some fear around some of them, and that is pretty much unfounded. So you want to get your immunizations so that you have that artificial active immunity to protect yourself. Then lastly, avoid sharing personal items. This is, pre-social distancing, but, you want to avoid those items that are touching parts of your skin that are mucous membranes or entry points. So like toothbrushes, because it's touching your mouth, towels, because, that's rubbing all over your body, and razors, because you can get broken skin with a razor. Okay. What's next? Why is it not going? Let's try that one. Okay. Oh, all the way back to the beginning? Okay, bear with me. I guess that's it. We came to the end. Well, that's it for now. I will put up 5 questions for your quiz. I'll try and get that done. And I hope you guys have a good week. If you have questions, email me or post comments on any of the assignments. Okay. Speak to you soon. Bye.